Okay, so we're diving into this research paper today. It's called Navigating AI Convergence in Human Artificial Intelligence Teams, a signaling theory approach. It sounds a little dense, I'll admit, but I think our listeners are going to find it really interesting. It's from the Journal of Organizational Behavior, and basically it looks at how we make decisions when we've got AI as part of the team.
Really important stuff, especially these days.
Think about it. We're talking about big decisions here, hiring, performance reviews, even things like security clearances, all those areas where AI is starting to play a role.
And this paper gets into why people sometimes go with the AI's advice, especially when things are uncertain.
Yeah, that's what really caught my eye. It's happening more and more, isn't it?
Yeah.
AI is everywhere in the workplace these days.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's gone way beyond just being a tool. It's becoming more like a teammate in a lot of ways.
Right? Like in finance.
Exactly. You've got algorithms predicting market trends, and then in healthcare you have AI assisting with diagnoses. I even saw an article about AI helping with sorting resumes in HR.
Wow. It's really changing how we work, isn't it? So that's where this idea of human-AI teaming comes in, I guess. Humans and AI working together trying to achieve some shared goal.
Makes sense. But there's this interesting paradox that the paper points out. Sometimes we actually prefer the AI's advice over what a human would tell us.
Algorithm appreciation, they call it.
Yeah, I know it sounds kind of crazy at first.
Right. Maybe not. Like, think about booking a flight online. Most of us just trust the algorithm to find the cheapest flight more than we would trust a travel agent, probably.
It's like we think the AI is being more objective somehow, less biased.
Yeah, and maybe faster, too. But then on the flip side, there are definitely times when we're like, whoa, hold on, AI, I don't know about this, especially with decisions that have ethical implications.
Like who gets parole or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Would you want an AI making that call?
Tough question. It's a really complex relationship we have with AI, isn't it?
Totally. And that's where this study comes in. They use something called signaling theory to try and understand how we process information when we make decisions in teams that have AI on them.
Signaling theory, huh?
I know. Sounds kind of jargony. Can you break that down for me?
Sure. Think of it like this. You're in a new city, you're totally lost, and then you see a sign pointing you to the train station. That sign is like a signal, right? It gives you information that helps you figure out where to go.
Okay, I get that. So in the AI world, those signs are a lot more complex.
Definitely more complex, but the idea is similar. We're looking for cues to reduce uncertainty and make better decisions.
Makes sense. So in this study, they wanted to figure out what kinds of signs make us more likely to follow the AI's advice.
Exactly. And one thing they looked at was accuracy, how accurate the AI is. They used facial recognition software as an example.
Okay, so like matching photos and seeing if the AI got it right.
They showed people pairs of photos and asked them if they matched. And for some of those pairs, the people also got advice from the AI.
So did they tell some people how accurate the AI was? Like, hey, this AI is right 80% of the time.
They did. But here's the thing, it didn't really change people's decisions that much. Surprising, right?
It is surprising. So it's not as simple as more accuracy equals more trust.
Nope. Turns out it's a lot more complicated than that.
It's like in real life. Just because you know your friend is usually right about stuff doesn't mean you're always going to agree with them.
Exactly. It's like there's more to it than just cold, hard facts.
Totally. So what else did they find?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. They found that just having the option to use the AI's advice made people way more likely to agree with it compared to when they had to use it.
So like if my boss says, you have to use this new AI program, I'm probably going to be a little resistant.
Probably. But if they say, hey, here's this cool new AI tool, you can use it if you want, you're more likely to actually try it out and see if it's helpful.
Makes sense. Nobody likes being told what to do.
Especially with something like AI, right? It feels like a big change.
For sure. So it goes back to that control thing. If we can choose to use the AI, it feels like it's our decision, not something being forced on us.
Exactly. And that seems to make a huge difference in how we perceive and interact with the AI.
Really makes you think.
It does.
And I'm still kind of stuck on that last point about how having the option to use AI actually makes us more likely to agree with it. It just seems so counterintuitive.
It is kind of strange when you think about it, but it does make sense if you consider that we all like to feel like we're in control. Our autonomy is important to us.
That's true. Like, if you're a manager and you want your team to use some new AI tool, you're probably going to get more buy-in if you present it as an option, right? Like, hey, here's a resource you can use if you think it's helpful, rather than saying you have to use this.
Exactly. Nobody likes being told what to do. And especially with something like AI, which feels kind of new and unfamiliar.
Yeah, there's that fear of the unknown, I guess. So what else did this study uncover?
They also looked at how our human teammates influence us. We tend to be more likely to side with the AI when a human teammate agrees with it.
It's like we're looking for that confirmation from another person, even if that other person is an AI.
It's almost like we need that social proof, that validation from someone else.
So it's not just about how each individual feels about the AI, it's also about how AI changes the team dynamic overall.
Exactly. And this is something leaders really need to think about. Imagine you've got a team where some people are really into using AI and others are more hesitant.
I can see how that could cause some problems.
Definitely. If the pro-AI people are always pushing their AI-driven ideas and the others are pushing back, it could lead to conflict.
Communication breakdowns for sure.
And it could even make people less willing to adopt AI overall. So leaders need to be aware of these dynamics and try to find ways to get everyone on the same page.
To create a shared understanding of AI and build trust.
Exactly. Trust in the AI itself, but also trust in each other's ability to use it effectively.
And that ties back to what we were talking about earlier, giving people the option to use AI. When they feel like they have a choice, they're usually more open-minded. So instead of making it a requirement, leaders should encourage experimentation and exploration. Maybe create a space where people can share their experiences with AI, good and bad.
Right. It's about creating a learning environment where people feel comfortable asking questions and talking about their concerns.
This all makes me think about something else the study mentioned, about transparency. They found that just knowing how accurate the AI is doesn't make people trust it more.
Yeah. It's not as simple as just showing people the numbers and expecting them to believe you.
Right. Transparency is more about explaining how the AI actually works, what its limitations are, and even what kind of biases it might have.
It's about giving people the tools to understand and critically evaluate the AI's advice.
So if you're a leader, you need to be upfront about how the AI is being used, where the data is coming from, and what you're doing to mitigate bias.
And you need to acknowledge that AI isn't perfect. It's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used in good ways and bad ways.
It's about using AI responsibly and ethically.
Absolutely. And don't forget to be open to feedback. Encourage your team to question the AI's recommendations, to point out flaws or inconsistencies. That kind of critical thinking is super important.
It's how we build trust and make sure AI is actually benefiting everyone. So let's get into some of those takeaways. We talked about things like collaboration and transparency and choice. But how do we actually put those ideas into practice? What does that look like day to day?
Well, one thing is to start thinking about AI differently. Instead of seeing it as a threat to our jobs, we should see it as a tool that can make us better at what we do. It's not about replacement, it's about augmentation. How can AI help us be more efficient, more creative?
Yeah, like instead of worrying about the AI taking over our jobs entirely, maybe we should focus on brainstorming ways AI can help us with the tasks we're already doing.
Exactly. And leaders need to be proactive about addressing people's fears. Be transparent about how the AI is being used, what its limitations are, how you're making sure it's being used ethically.
Communication is key. If people feel like decisions are being made in secret, they're going to be suspicious.
Exactly. Involve your team from the beginning. Ask for their input. What kind of AI tools would be most helpful? What concerns do they have? How do they see AI fitting into their workflow?
And once you've chosen a tool, make sure people have the training and support to actually use it properly.
And this is important. Don't mandate the use of AI. Give people a choice. Frame it as a resource that can help them make better decisions, not a replacement for their own judgment.
It's funny thinking back to the study how just having the option to use the AI made people more likely to agree with it. I wonder if there are ways to use that to our advantage.
Yeah.
That little psychological quirk.
It's an interesting thought. Like, you've worked hard, you've proven yourself, now you get access to this powerful tool.
It's like turning it into a game, almost. And people love that feeling of achievement, of being recognized for their work.
Right, tapping into those intrinsic motivators that make us want to learn and grow. That's important no matter what, AI or not.
So to wrap up, I think what we've learned today is this AI is here to stay. It's going to change how we work in a big way. But the key to navigating these changes is to remember the human element.
It's about collaboration and transparency and choice. Building trust not just in the AI, but in each other. And remembering that AI is a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's up to us to decide.
Couldn't have said it better myself. This has been a fantastic conversation. And to everyone listening out there, thanks for tuning in. We hope this deep dive has given you some things to think about as you navigate the world of human-AI collaboration. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions.